How you doing? Pernell Bobby checking in here again from Bali Caps here in Kuta. And what I want to tell you today is it takes purpose. You gotta have a purpose. Purpose is what's gonna make you smile. The purpose is what, like Jim Rohn says, will pull you through instead of you always trying to push. Remember, willpower is absolutely finite. You can only push so far before you fatigue, before you become exhausted. Not just from a physical standpoint, because your body will exhaust as well, but mentally, and that, in my opinion, is much more dangerous when you mentally exhaust, when you emotionally exhaust, especially when you spiritually exhaust. That's when you know you're pushing your way through life. You're like, I can do it. No one else is better than me. That's when you already know you're kind of on the wrong course, when you say comments like, no one else is better than me. No one can outwork me. No one can out-hustle me. These are the telltale phrases. These are the statements that really, if you are spiritually aware, will let you know that it's not coming from an internal success. It's not coming from internal validation. And as soon as that external validation wears off and somebody else does become better than you, then there goes your success and everything that you have worked so hard to be better than, other than yourself. And so if willpower is finite and your pushing is finite, then what does it take? Like I said, like Jim Rohn said, it takes you a purpose that pulls you through the circumstances. Now, right now, real quick, I want you to, if you trust yourself, close your eyes. I'm going to close my eyes as well, and I'm going to imagine the worst moment in my life, the absolute lowest, like bottom of the barrel, and three come to mind. And the first one, I think this might even be in chronological order, was when I was absolutely depressed, and you know, the female that I was dating at the time connected with multiple of my friends, and I was absolutely crushed because I'm like riding in a car with these guys, and I'm gonna like use your imagination when I say connected with my friends, which are no longer at this point people that I concern myself with, but not that I hate. But at one point I absolutely hated them, and that hate, it drove a stake deeper into my soul, and it pinned me down, and I started running in circles around a storyline, and that caused massive depression, you know, in the house for more than half a year. Dark, Netflix, Vampire Diaries, no social, and when I say no social, I mean no connection with human beings, no connection with people. And that was one of those worst times in my life. That was one of those times in my life where I literally wanted to kill myself. I used to even think about slitting my wrist. I think I actually even did it, and I realized like that I wasn't doing it because I really wanted to kill myself, but because I just wanted the attention. I wanted the attention for someone to care, for her to care, for anyone walking by me to feel like someone else cared. Again, external validation. A second time in my life, I sat there, and the same day I lost my job, it was my sister's birthday, and it was my first real career job. And then I watched a man die that same night, and it sent me spiraling into an anxiety attack. It sent me spiraling into always being paranoid whenever fireworks went off, or whenever, you know, I just had this eerie feeling at all times. And this was about 6-7 months. And it lasted for about a year, but for about 7 months, it was like chronic anxiety that had me paranoid everywhere I went, everything I did. And you know, one of those last painful moments was me not walking for an 8-month time span, and it started with my back going out of commission. And at this time I was personal training and doing large group training, and so, you know, to many other employers, like, how useless was this guy that we hired him to train, and his back is, you know, it's jacked up. And then my knees went. For 8 months I was unable to walk. And again, that sent me into a different form of depression, a different form, but all of them, because my purpose was so strong, every single one of them, I pulled through that circumstance. I pulled through that week. I pulled through that month. I pulled through that time Why? Because my purpose was here in order to use some of these struggles, some of these strife moments to show you what resiliency can do. And not just resiliency of who I am and my DNA, not me just pushing my way through like I used to do for so long, but for me to connect with a purpose that was much higher than just myself and much higher than any form of external validation. And I've been on my own journey of internally validating myself. And I tell you, like, the moment that I really start putting that focus on validation from within, internal success, it really got that much tougher. But I realized that my purpose was to enlighten people through those struggles, through that strife, to show you with resiliency and with purpose, with tapping into the essence of who you are, why you're here, to remember who you are, and to not shy away from all that you are. Now, why did I have you think about, with some deep breaths, those deepest, darkest moments? Because if you're listening to this right now, you have already surpassed that moment, or you're still currently in the struggle getting through that moment, but you're listening still because you realize that, like, you can make it through that, and you may be seeking a way to get through that. And if you are, the answer is very, very simple. Work on yourself. And here's the second follow-up, something that's an actual tool, a tactic. I want you to think of yourself as the sheep. I want you to think of yourself as the lion. Now, what would a sheep do? A sheep is the follower. A sheep is considered weak. A sheep is considered one that isn't able to manage themselves, and they need the sheep herder to tell them where to go, to tell them what to do. Now, are you this person right now in your life? Like I was with that past relationship of looking for the attention? Or are you the lion in this scenario, one that hunts for themselves, one that takes care of their family on their own, one that will survive, one that is considered the king or the queen of the jungle? Are you considering yourself a follower, a sheep, or the king or the queen of the jungle, the reality that you are currently manifesting? No one is doing this to you. You are doing this for yourself. And then think about some of the things that would happen in the different areas of your life as the sheep and as the wolf. As the lion. The sheep on a physical level, they would, if they cut themselves, they would look for the sheep herder to bandage their wounds or to take care of them, to get them to the next spot. But the lion would lick their own wounds. And the lion would use the saliva from their tongue as a antibacterial sanitizer, and also something that will close that wound up from just a physical level. And you can use that metaphor for your real life. Mentally, what would the sheep do when some of these catastrophes that I told you about in their life happen? Mentally, you may allow the anxiety and the depression from those various events to consume you, and now you're popping pills, and now you're becoming schizophrenic, and now you're becoming a psychomaniac potentially, right? Now you're becoming someone who, like the Joker, started using his power to influence for reasons that were more selfish. Or you're the lion in this scenario in the mental, and you say, listen, I'm going to get some development personally on myself every day. I'm going to start listening to YouTube motivational videos. I'm going to start going to workshops and network and find tools that work for me, knowing that just because this tool didn't work, I'm going to stay resilient because my purpose is pulling me through, and I'm going to get this tool to work for me, right? The lion wouldn't allow the mental to collapse. They would build more security to fortify their mind spiritually. Spiritually, the sheep, if the sheep wasn't spiritually aware of themselves and self-reliant and self-aware and basically find out internal sex for themselves, what would that look like? They wouldn't know that they were following the whole time. They would just be absolutely content with their lives. And let's think about this. You're maybe in the 9-to-5 job. You're maybe in a stable situation, but you're following. And so, you may not even have the opportunity in that scenario of always being a follower to become spiritually aware enough of who you are, to remember who you are, to be self-reliant. But the lion in this scenario, if you were spiritually aware, the lion would recognize that they are a queen, or that they are a queen, right? That they have power and is considered not only the most dangerous, but potentially the most caring, the most loving in their life. The lion knows who they are. They do not fret when it's time to hunt for their prey. They do not overkill. They take what they need and they lead. Now I want you to just go through some of these areas in your life. I don't want you to think about it from a spiritual standpoint, from a mental standpoint, from an emotional standpoint, right? And emotional intelligence is huge. You can check some of my videos on emotional intelligence on this channel, and you're gonna see a lot of content with that because I'm big on this. Think of your life in these areas. But before that, I want you to think of your life and what does it look like at the bottom of the barrel if you were being the sheep in every different area in your life, if you were being a follower, if you were being quote unquote something or someone that was playing the victim, that's the sheep, someone that was playing as a weak follower. And I want you to think about those same scenarios, the worst times of your life, and the fact that one, you've already made it through, and what lying characteristics that you have to have or did you really embody to get through, and just level out. Who do you want to be? Not only who you want to be remembered as your personal legend, but who do you want to be? Do you want to be the sheep? Do you want to be the lion? Do you want to continue to push your way through with willpower, always trying to be better than the next person? Or do you want to pull yourself through because you're aiming to be better than yourself daily? That's the question that you have to answer. And if you don't answer, just understand this, that the question will be answered for you. The actions will play out because one thing is inevitable, and that is change. And by you not making a choice, you are making a choice. It's Pernell Bobby checking in. Subscribe to this channel, like it, share it, and decide who you want to be, because otherwise the decision will be made for you.